access for people to be able to acquire a token, right? So if someone was to buy a token, they would get it at a certain value, and then the next person onwards would then pay a little bit more than the previous person. Does everyone follow that? That's basic market, right? But with this as well, I think the funny part is that the IDOs, they say that it's designed to eliminate bots, right? But this is not true, guys, okay? Because as soon as you release a token on most of the chains, there's a bot that's going to buy in immediately, right? So I'd say that that's a little bit of something that they say that's not necessarily so true, right? And then basically the idea is to get a fair shot and a fair chance to obtain the tokens. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's basically it today. So TGEs is when a new cryptocurrency is made. The core components obviously are the utility and the things that are built into it via the smart contract. And then if you look at the IDOs, it's about equal distribution and everyone being able to get a share. So is everyone with me today?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So now that we've gone through the basics, we're going to get some beautiful panelists to come on and really get into the nitty and gritty. So yeah, thank you guys. Has anyone got any questions? Oh, there we go. Okay.
So if you are going to do that I'm Oliver. Those who know me, I know nothing about crypto, and I'll be coming here regularly. However, I do have interest in a few crypto-related businesses. I'm interested in the precursor when you have the latest things called IGO. How much of the value do you know how many are you going to put out?
Yeah.
Who determines that? Is it going to be 10,000 of them? Is it going to be 20,000? The other thing is, you made an assumption that the minute it goes in the market, you trade it and it's going to go up. But it also go down. So how can you make that assumption?
Oh yeah, okay, for sure. So to answer the second question in terms of the assumption of it going up, right? I was essentially explaining that when a token is initially released, there's lots of people that build out their own bots that will jump in on anything that's released early. So it doesn't mean that the token's gonna blow up and it's gonna go crazy in value. It just means that there's people that are out here that are really trying to acquire all of the tokens, like Pokemon, catch them all, essentially, right? So there's people that have their bots and they jump in on the tokens as soon as they're released. Doesn't matter what the token is, doesn't matter what the project is. So that's what I was describing in regards to that. And to answer your question on who actually decides what the amount of tokens there are, that is the team. So obviously I would advise the team to have a proper tokenomics team. So you can speak to Alex, right? If you actually want to have a proper tokenomics team to actually know, okay, what is the amount of tokens that I want to do for my business model? What is the release schedule look like? And things of that nature. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Are there any more questions? Oh, hello.
The question I've got is in relation to these trading bots. How do you prevent these trading bots from attacking your tokenomics? Because when you do the release, I've been called out 3 times in 1 week on 3 different launches.
Yeah.
And I can't seem to stop these bots.
Yeah.
Because they cause headaches in rug pulls.
Yeah.
And I'm left with basically communities that are shattered. And it makes it really hard, particularly when you're pumping Donald Trump coins.
Yeah.
How do you prevent them?
So I would say when you initially put liquidity, which is capital, into the pool of your token, put a lot of liquidity. So when those bots jump in, right, they're not going to be getting a lot of tokens. They're going to be buying a lot less because the market, when you set the market by putting in that liquidity, they're going to be buying less tokens. Does that make sense? So that's how you can sort of mitigate the amount of tokens that they're getting. You can't stop the bots. I'm sorry. It's a blockchain, right? Everything's public. They see everything. As soon as it's out, they're on it, right? You can't stop them. But you can say, hey, you've got to pay for these tokens. That's what you can do. Hello?
I take you to some reality scene. Houses and apartments are sold on off-plan basis. So one of the things that I noticed is that you need a physical thing to have a token of. If you don't have 10,000 Snickers that you are going to produce, there are no tokens. In what way it is different than what has been going on over the years? People buy real estate off plan and then they sell on to another person, rent it out, and variety of things that are happening already. Bots, or in this case, investors, will buy off plan in bulk, resell at a higher prices, which what bots will do here as well. In what way it is different?
Okay, yeah. Yes, people buy and sell things, right? Trading has been around since, cowrie shells and, selling your cowrie shells to get your chicken and then getting your chicken and trading it to get your rice.
You need a product.
Yes.
First place.
Yeah, but what digital currency is and cryptocurrency and these digital tokens are, it depends on what the actual project itself is targeting to do around and what it's built around. But there are tokens that are built out based on communities that are around different narratives and things of that nature. But the most important thing that I want to note is that blockchain technology and decentralization is really what is the powerful tool that all of these other means do not have, where it's everyone that's joined in a network, right? And that they all have a share of it, right? And they all participate to keep it up and running, right? And I think that the one thing about blockchain technology is data and the transfer of data that is very important, and also the record and to keep those records.
I
Yeah.
agree everything what you just said.
Okay, yeah.
The whole point is that there is a product,
Yeah.
a pair of Snickers
Yeah.
that I'm buying
Yeah.
and then selling on.
Yes.
If at all I'm a bot or I'm investor or a speculator or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but it's related to that product, and
Yeah. So
that has been going on in a variety of different ways
Yes.
all over our lives.
so
Blockchain might just identify it much clearer. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
It says who you are and you are the owner and all the rest of it. Fine,
Mhm.
the blockchain is great for that.
Mhm.
But in what way this new token that is created
Mhm.
is different? I just can't understand that part of it. There is the real estate.
Mhm.
I bought a flat, paid money, regular money, not
Mhm.
tokens or anything. And then somebody else buys it and they pay me more money for whatever.
Mhm.
It's the same thing going again and again.
Yeah. Alex,
They're
put
just
your hands up there.
monetizing different things in a different way.
Here we go. It's not different. It's exactly the same as if you spend dollars to buy pounds.
Yeah.
But it's not different at all. That's it, really. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you guys.
Everyone pretends it's magical. It's all lie. It's not.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
at
I
all.
agree.
So, thank you for the questions. Guys, I'm excited to introduce our moderator tonight, Anya. She is Head of Institutional Partnerships at Archex. So come on up here, Anya, and we'll get going on the panel.
Hi guys, happy Crypto Monday. Tonight with us, Sam Whitehat from Outlier Ventures, Alex Patulash, Simplicity,
He's ready.
It's a bit hot.
Sarah Delecelli, Kansin, and Sean Azan from Sweat Economy. I'll let you guys maybe introduce yourself briefly and what you do in your respective relations.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming along. Great to see so many faces here. My name is Sam Whitehead. I lead the Token Launch Accelerator at Outlier Ventures. We basically support teams that are 3 to 6 months away from their TGE, and we support everything from token go-to-market, tokenomics, and everything in between that. Thank you.
I'm Alex, co-founder of Simplicity Group. We're an advisory firm that specializes in tokenomics, research, and a bunch of other stuff. We design, audit, model, and advise regarding tokenomics, but also do a bunch of other stuff.
Hi, I'm Sarah Dejiri. I'm a Web3 marketing and growth manager consultant, and I'm the head consultant in Johnson Consultancy. I basically offer Web3 projects, marketing strategies. I execute their strategies, and I take them from zero to their launch.
Hello, lovely to meet you all. I'm Sean Azam, co-founder of Sweat Economy. We're building one of the biggest apps in Web3. We had a TGE about 2 years ago, where we had about 3 million new token holders. And actually, we ended up trending on Twitter, had to go through all the process of listings, market makings, and all that stuff. And so hopefully can help give some advice.
All right, then let's start. We'll start with a lighter topic, moving to heavy tokenomics as we progress. So the first question I have is about the community pre-launch. So community is very important for absolutely any project, but especially in digital asset space where a lot of value is derived from the mere fact how people perceive your project valuable. So Sarah, in your experience with Web3 marketing, what are the main components to successful creating and nourishing pre-launch community, white papers, key opinion leadership, other marketing activities? What's your take?
Sure. So I think the common mistake that most projects make is that they start marketing their product 1 or 2 months before the launch. They just give 1 month to the marketer to build the community and get it ready for the launch, and that is not enough. First of all, when you start posting on Twitter, it takes you a while to get views. Your first couple tweets are going to get 10 views. So you need a couple months to actually start getting views and build a community. And then once you have a community, then you can start working with influencers and bring more people to your community. So I think founders should start thinking about starting marketing early on and invest in this beforehand, and then slowly grow their community. The important thing about community is that you can gather around 10,000 people in your project in 2 months, but most of them are going to be airdrop hunters. So the moment you launch your token, they're going to dump your token. So you want to build a loyal community, and that takes a bit of time. So I think that's the most important thing on this.
Right, and what about product-led community? As in, how much product plays a role compared to marketing activities? As in, word of mouth of the great product, and we all know the recent launches such as Hyperliquid that had little to no marketing, just purely out of word of mouth and a great product. It created a loyal community, and how it can potentially help with the budget, and also what is the good budget for token launch at all, and what would you do if you are slightly below the budget range? Sean?
Well, I think it depends on if you're a long-term project. I think you can't beat product-led marketing. So if you have a product that really is sticky and is word of mouth, you're just going to be so much more viral, and users are going to talk about you a lot more. Your communities, your Discord communities, your Twitter communities are going to be so much more active compared to if you have heavy investment in KOLs. Who will come, they'll do some tweets for you, but then they'll just dump your token. And my only advice, if you are working with KOLs, is if you do give them tokens, put it on a lockup schedule. You can't immediately dump, because if not, you'll launch and then they'll just dump your token straight away.
Thank you. And now moving a little bit more scientific approach in terms of on-chain data, what role it plays in Oh, you're gonna get this question now. you definitely have
It's
something
fast
to
with the
say.
mic, so yes.
What role it plays in the token launch? What metrics would you pay attention to specifically to help you to steward the project?
Mine was going to be a bit more practical. Things like volume, active users, things like TVL, all the stuff that you can see on chain. It's very good to get very good centralized exchange listings. The bigger the numbers, the better exchange you can get. The better exchange, the more confirmation to the public that you have a good project, the more buy pressure, and so on and so forth. So those metrics, realistically, in a lot of cases, they are vanity metrics, I would argue. Especially a lot of them can be faked with bots. However, to a centralized exchange listing, it's still quite important.
Sam, do you have something to add about that?
I think it fundamentally comes down to whether, if your product actually needs a token, because you can bet your bottom dollar that your token definitely needs a product. Or 99% of the time, it definitely needs a product to back it up, because if it hasn't got a product behind it, it's just a meme coin at this point. So I think that's a fundamental to make sure that your product is actually worthy of its token, and understanding how the token actually supports the product that you have built. So yeah, I think that's fundamental, just not launching a token for the sake of launching a token, basically.
And in terms of market making, do you think it is always absolutely necessary to have it along with the token launch? What role it plays in price stability and liquidity?
I think everything to do with crypto, and I'm sure everybody here has experienced this, there are bad actors everywhere you go. So I think ensuring that you're working with a market maker that is genuine. Have they got case studies? Can they show you how volume has performed over a certain amount of time? Understanding also how it rolls into your budget. Everybody may be launching tokens on different budgets. So if you have an unlimited budget, of course you can lock in higher market makers, etc. Whether you're going on the loan and option model, or if you're keeping these people on a monthly rolling recurring fee. There's lots of different actions that you can take towards making sure that your market maker is providing deep enough liquidity, making sure that people can get in and out at size if they need to. So yeah, I think market making is fundamental, and obviously it rolls into, if you're going centralized exchange, if you're going decentralized exchange, how you're going to create that liquidity, essentially.
Right. Another week, another candle charts scandal with market makers. And by the way, since you also touched again to budget, what do you think the budget should be? I mean, not maybe in absolute terms, but what it should absolutely include, and what is optional, and what is a good budget at all?
I think fundamentally there is so much stuff you can do for free when you're starting out. So if you don't have an X account, you don't exist basically. Everybody needs to be active. If people don't know you exist, they won't buy your token. So you can get on AMAs, you can get on podcasts, you can start up YouTube, you can get on TikTok, you can make sure people are aware of your token. So focus on the things that you can do for free. Then as you approach TGE, as the point was made earlier, start as early as you can, making sure that people are aware of the token that you're actually going to be launching. So in terms of a finite budget, I mean, again, it depends on how deep your pockets are. But when you're going centralized exchanges, you can see listing fees anywhere up to $500,000, all the way down to 50K if you're on a bit of a shoestring and you need to get somebody in house to be a reply guy, manage a marketing campaign. And it's also fundamental to remember that it's not just marketing up to your TGE, it's also having good news stories to tell after. So I think it's primarily making sure that you have enough budget to get you to TGE and beyond.
Great, thank you. In terms of tokenomics being the cornerstone of any successful token launch and influencing the demand and supply of the token, but also with regards to creating the compelling story around them. Sarah, what do you think are essential components of it, the value proposition, the utility of the token? How do you communicate it correctly?
The value proposition of a project is very important. I've met many founders out there who have great tech, but they don't have a value proposition. So you can't really talk about it on Twitter. And if you don't talk about it on Twitter, bring a value to people, they're just not going to be interested in your product. And founders are shocked because, like, I have this great tech. Why am I not getting users? How come people are not using this? Because you're not having any like value propositions. People don't know what actually they can use this tech for. So technical founders, especially, they need to really find out what value they bring. Like they really need to cooperate with the marketing team and just figure out their value propositions, and then it's going to be much easier to attract people, because most of the people, even though how technical they are on crypto, we can tell them retail, like they're still coming for the value, they're still coming for what they believe they can do with that project. So it's very important. Yeah.
Thanks. And in terms of supply demand correlation and how to correctly incentivize community, what helps to get it right? Whoever wants to take this, or all of you.
If I understood the question correctly, you mean how can you set up tokenomics correctly so that the supply and demand is balanced, right?
Correct. And how can you maybe use inflationary, deflationary mechanics around that to support that?
Okay. Inflation, deflation is quite a complicated topic, so I think I'll leave that one for now. But in terms of the demand and supply, the way that we like to do it is pretty straightforward, arguably, is if you have, let's say, an NFT marketplace and people pay you a $10 subscription per month in order to get access to some premium something, what you do is you imagine you don't have that without the token, right? So I pay you in USDT, for example. We can tokenize that one flow of value, so now the token is responsible for that. So, you can logically assume that people will be buying $10 worth of the token every single month and then paying you for that premium subscription. If you have 1 million users, that's 12 million. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's long day. Sorry, long day. It's $12 million worth of buy pressure per year, right? So breaking that down by month, obviously there's going to be other things that are playing a role in how much people are buying worth of the token. You can do some rough maths and you can estimate, okay, we have enough room to release a certain number of tokens at a certain valuation every single month. You do that for 2-3 years, and then there you have your vesting schedules, you have your valuations, and a bunch of other stuff. I have a few articles on this if people want to check out the website, simplicitygroup.xyz. I have a blog, and everything is written there in a lot more detail, but high level.
Well, since we already got to hardcore economics topics, I will touch another dreaded ones by by a lot of people. Jurisdiction. How do you pick the correct jurisdiction for your token launch? What should you take into account? How the categorization of your token affects that choice, whether the token is a utility, a security, or any other type of, and also how do you think, the most popular question recently, the recent geopolitical developments in the US, in the EU, in the UK affect the choice of jurisdiction?
I can say this one. We set up a BVI entity. At the time, those offshore islands were very popular, very, very easy and quick to set up entities. I can make intros to legal firms who can set up entities for you very, very cheaply. One problem you will have is probably getting a fiat bank account if you need it. That's very difficult. We ended up getting one in Switzerland, which kind of serves all of our needs. A couple of other things I'd mention is we completely avoided the US for obvious reasons. Honestly, don't know the answer. That's changed right now. The UK seems to be kind of closed for business, to be honest. We're able to actually pare back all of our operations and restrict usage of our products in the UK. because even the App Store are actually stopping us launching products in the UK. Sorry?
I've been a member of the ecosystem for a long time. I tried to download it now. It doesn't work.
Yeah, you probably won't be able to. Yeah. At the time, this is about 18 months ago, we tried to launch or register in Switzerland because they had a robust framework, but actually they put down their shutters. What we're looking at now is actually Abu Dhabi. We're hearing really positive things from Abu Dhabi, the ADGM, who've got a proper framework in place where if you come with audited financials, proper tokenomics, proper white papers, they seem to be very, very receptive. But that's kind of just still the early stages.
Well, hopefully other countries catch up because we don't want to lose you to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And in terms of scandals and other things related to tokens launch that were quite some, and the most recent one was Libra token that was publicly endorsed by the Argentinian president, and then some other public figures, let's not pronounce the name, endorsing other tokens. What are the common pitfalls to watch and to avoid allocating too much to snipers and all sort of things? Alex?
I'm not the most technical when it comes to these sort of things, but one thing that I'd say is the market cap of the token is a very minuscule number in relation, or it's very minuscule in its importance in relation to the liquidity of the token. The reason why tokens fly up to billions of dollars and then fly back down to hundreds of thousands, within mere hours, is because there's no liquidity there. And it's just how bonding curves work, or whatever DEX you're on. In essence, if you have $1 in the liquidity pool and you have 10 million tokens, if I now, spend, actually no, sorry, the other way around. If I have one token in the liquidity pool and I have 10 million, dollars in there, if I want to buy that one token, I'll have to spend an infinite amount of money because that's how bonding curves work, right? The good liquidity, they don't let me. So the less tokens in that scenario you have, the more you have to spend. When it comes to these meme coins, the same thing happens. They create liquidity pools and there's no liquidity in there. There's barely any tokens, there's barely any dollars. It's very easy to pump it, but then when you try to sell, it's very easy to dump it as well. I did not explain it in the best way possible. It's a bit difficult without doodling on a whiteboard. But long story short, to fellow retail investors that probably got rugged on a lot of these meme coins like myself, just don't invest, to be honest, unless you're an insider. If you're an insider, definitely do. There's no repercussions whatsoever when the presidents are launching their own meme coins. But if you're not an insider, do not invest. You will get rugged way more than you would just playing poker or any other game in the casino.
Right. Stay away from pump fun.
Yeah. But if anyone knows any technical reasons,
if anyone knows someone, contact us after the program. And what about good stories, success stories? We don't want the crypto industry to be perceived as a fraud, which unfortunately a lot of people take advantage in unfair players and immediately bring it back. Whilst, to be fair, fraud happens in many industries. What would be, share with me the successful token launches that did not have the dreaded dump immediately after the launch, that are still on at this moment, that are growing, and that actually have underlying value behind?
I think when it comes to this, we need to look at product market fit. I think that's the biggest topic in crypto right now. There are a lot of products coming out, but they don't have a market fit. And they release this token. All the founders think their token is going to go up. They're going to make a lot of money. But because there's no market fit, they can't find a community to back it up, and the token goes down. So the most successful one this year has been Hype, Hyperliquid's token. Hyperliquid is a perp DEX, perpetual DEX. And it's been around for a while. It was there in the bear market. So they had the perfect product market fit in the bear market. Everybody was trading perps. And they had the product for a while. They gathered the community loved the product, and they had a good incentive mechanism. They did an airdrop and a fair launch, I think, and their airdrop was very successful. And because their community liked the product so much, nobody dumped, and the token kept going up, and it's still going up, even in the, was it 2nd or 3rd of February, the big liquidation event.
Wow.
Even then, hype was still stable, and at one point it was going up. So if you have a community, and also their token is a utility token as well, so they use it inside the product as well. So there's no reason for people to dump it. So I think that's a very important thing to consider.
Yeah, hype is not only hype. Someone else wants to add?
I think another good example would be to look at the way that somebody like Berachain has built their community as well. You know, I know there was a lot of questions in the community around, you know, when token, and I think there was a response like in Q4 that they were launching in Q5 24 or something like that. And I thought, you know, it's they almost build this, you know, super strong community, doing like the fundamentals, some of which have been like mentioned up here. You know, like the GM is like G-Bearer. There's like an NFT community called MFers, you know, like a couple of years ago, which was like GMFer. It's building that sort of, I don't know, cult is probably a strong word, but super strong community where there's almost a narrative that if you're outside of this community, you want to get in because, you know, it feels like there's some sort of like like insider joke, or you know, it's the current hot narrative on Twitter and things like that. So I think Berachain is a great example of how it's built a very strong community. So yeah, that would just be one other sort of example of a successful, I guess, community building.
Sean, you want to answer?
I think what I'd say is I really agree with focusing less on just hype and narratives and more on, is your product solving a really core problem for the users? And I think honestly sometimes in Web3 we forget that quite a lot, and we focus on narratives and what's the cool new trend. But ultimately, if you get that right, then token or no token, like, you'll be successful with your project because users are using it. You'll generate revenue. That revenue, if you want to, can be used to be funneled back into the token. And so it's always just focus on that. And that's the only thing I would say. The best launches, like you mentioned, are ones you just focus on that.
And just on that point, I think there's also this like idea that there's always a perfect time to launch. You know, the market's going to be printing green candles. You know, Elon Musk is going to be tweeting about your project tomorrow. There's like all of these things that everybody thinks, you know, the stars are going to align, and then all of a sudden, you know, you use 1,000x your token. Like, there is never an ideal time. Well, I say there is never an ideal time. There are like more optimal and like less optimal times to launch a token. So I think if you're thinking about launching a token and, you know, you're hesitating, perhaps, you know, this isn't financial advice, obviously, but like perhaps, you know, taking that step towards just getting your token out in the market if it is ready, rather than like waiting for the next thing to be perfect or the next star to align. You know, you may as well just, you know, get involved in the market now. And I think something else that I wanted to mention in the Berachain example is the power of memes and understanding your brand as like a fundamental project. So obviously the mimetic value of your brand and being able to you know, poke fun at yourself, create these sort of inside jokes, I think is very, very valuable. So if that isn't something that you're currently, you know, considering when it comes to your brand, I would say like check out the power of memes when it comes to you know, growing your community and, you know, successful token launch, because I think there is like proof in the pudding that, you know, memes do work and they do sell tokens. Not financial advice.
Actually, about what you just mentioned, Sam, do you think there are audiences for each token's launch? So like audience that would be more receptive of community memes, audience that would rather be involved in other types of tokens launch?
Definitely, I think there are, you know,
target market.
Yeah, there are. It would come back again to like if you're some sort of DEX platform that your users need to have like an advanced understanding of, how to trade or interact with like a DEX or a decentralized exchange, does it make sense to go and then launch your token on like a centralized exchange when 95% of your user base are already experienced in using things like decentralized exchange? Perhaps not. Perhaps you may just think, you know what, I'm going to go decentralized first, or like decentralized exchange listing first, even though that may not necessarily be the normal well-trodden path. So I definitely think there are different types of token launches for different sort of people, but ultimately it's about understanding the core person who is going to put their hard-earned cash into the token and essentially buy in or invest into your project. So I think that is the fundamental thing, understanding who actually is going to be buying your token at the end of the day.
Fair. All about being prepared. I think we can start taking the questions. I'm glad we're gonna have a
Fantastic. Fantastic panel here. A question to all of the actual speakers. For a lot of novice, can you actually suggest good websites, good bits of information where we can go and get more understanding about tokenomics and the market? Because it's a minefield out there. You've mentioned DAX, you've mentioned centralized exchanges, you've mentioned 50 grand to up to about $500,000. Hey, that's big numbers for a lot of Web3 entrepreneurs. So let's have some ideas of good sources where we can get information, starting with the actual moderator herself, because she's a very technical lady. So I'd love to get some tips and insights. Thank you.
Well, I think when you don't have the budget for your project, first rethink one more time why. It might as well be that you don't need these crazy numbers, as you mentioned, because they are indeed restrictive to particular players in the market. But you've seen there are successful examples of launches where marketing was not the main cost at all, and the main cost was probably the technical work and the value of the project. That probably, I don't think there is a way you can avoid this if you're building a good project. Good tech costs money, so I'd focus on that. And then how you get this money? Well, you get your investors, you get just as for any other project that you would build. You figure the budget question one way or another. It's just like not get into it how to finance any project. But in terms of token, I think you just don't focus on expensive marketing strategies, but you focus on the quality, and maybe like one word of mouth can create you the community. That's what I would say.
I would say, obviously, a soft skill. Check out Outlier Ventures website. We've got a lot of great information written by some of like the greatest minds, in the industry, in my humble opinion. But
It's expensive.
Yeah, but like I would say, start with stuff that is free. Looking at maybe checking out things like Binance or Masari. There's lots of great sort of research papers out there, but yeah, stick with the trusted names, and then like you can triangulate what different people are saying, and that usually sort of orientates around the right answer. So I'd say just be inquisitive, and yeah, Google is your friend at this point, I guess.
ChatGPT, I would say.
Yeah.
Better friend.
I may be a bit contrarian here, but I honestly don't think you'll find the vast majority of the answers to any questions about how to launch a token, where to go, how much to pay, or anything like that from anywhere other than a very good advisory firm or a project that has already done it. And what I mean by that is you either speak with my friend Sean, whose obviously name I completely remember. That would be a very great person to talk to because he's done it, he knows what to do. Other people that have launched successful projects, same with them, whether it's the actual founder or whether it's an advisor. Because I'm sure Outlier Ventures has a lot of fantastic articles when it comes to things like tokenomics or like marketing and stuff like that, or everything else that they have articles on. Great resource, but there's only so much you can say in the articles. There is only so many companies you can mention that you would recommend publicly to go to. Whereas you get on a call with someone like Sean or a very expert advisor who's in the industry, who works with the launch firms, the market makers, the exchanges, they've seen all the contracts, they've seen all the terms, they know exactly how everything works. That's the only place where you will actually find all the information you're looking for. But there are a lot of scam advisors out there that will just waffle and pretend like they know what they're talking about. Good luck.
I agree with Alex on this because it might feel very overwhelming when you first start and you don't even know where to look at, what to research about. And everything seems so complicated and what are ICOs, IDOs and everything. And yeah, you sometimes, most of the time, you can't find the answer by Googling. So it would be very useful if you can get into some Telegram groups with other founders, have some people who have experience in this, ask them. So yeah, it's mostly like asking your network and just getting from people's experiences.
What's a very good Telegram group?
Mondays.
Just one thing I'll add is when we built Sweat Economy, we did a private sale, so we got venture funded, and the venture capital firms they tend to be very well connected with other founders, and they've just been through all these things loads of times, and so they're super helpful because they've just seen all this stuff before, how to deal with centralized exchanges, how to structure deals with market makers. They've seen these things.
Guys, one more question?
Hi guys, thank you for a really interesting panel. Just help me to understand at what stage in the startup sort of fundraising journey a TGE event might take place and how it takes place alongside or maybe in opposition to more traditional fundraising sources.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, yeah, thanks for the question. I would say ideally you want to be well. It depends. If your tech's built and maybe you've raised like pre-seed or seed cash, you might have raised, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 million. You've got runway to sustain yourself. You've got a decent community behind you. I would say it's probably about the right time to launch. So in answer to your question directly, I would say if you've raised money from like a VC or angels, etc., you're probably in a good position. But there are like the community funding platforms which are coming through now, things like Legion and Echo, where you can go out to the community essentially and do a community round. You get buy-in from the people who are actually going to be using your tech. So there's like two answers here. One is if you raise some money, and you're well on your way to like having a well built up product and community, probably a decent time. But on the other side, if you're trying to bootstrap yourself and you're using like community platforms like Echo, Legion, CoinList, etc., I think a couple of successful rounds on there, and then I think you're good to go essentially.
And to add to that as well, a lot of these tokens are utility tokens too. Utility tokens. So whenever your product is ready to start offering that utility, that whatever part of the product that a token will need to be used in, that's also a very good time to launch a token. Funnily enough, TGE doesn't necessarily mean that you can trade the token, which I believe Keish mentioned. One of the companies that we invested into, they TGE'd in October, but the token's still not live. So the token's used for their nodes and, so the system works, but doesn't mean that you can trade it. So it's a little caveat that would be interesting to think about when you're launching a token.
Thank you.
Okay, last one.
Thank you so much. Sam, you mentioned like the value of mimetic value in projects building up that mimetic value. Have there been any cases, and can the panel think of any cases of utility projects building up or creating this mimetic value up until the utility token launch, for example?
Yeah, great question. I think Berachain is one straight off the bat. I think what they've done there around the sort of community that they've built. I mean, off the top of my head, there are probably a number. Definitely, I would say more towards the meme side. There's like the trade-off because like I don't think we've mentioned the word yet, but I think there's this trade-off about being like too degen or like too degenerate, like depending on like where you are on that scale. Like I think there is like a fine line that you can tread, like if you're being too degen or not. But I think Berachain would probably be my default like answer to like a decent level of mimetic sort of.
Maybe Monad as well.
Yeah.
And Trader Joe, maybe. Yeah, they also did a bit of memes, kind of. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Big round of applause for our. Just stick around 1 second because we do have a raffle. So Nat, do you want to come up? If you guys want to grab some.
Yeah, I didn't bring the popcorn because I'm just going to sit up here and watch you guys, but I might just decide to do it. Anywho, I just wanted to come up here and talk quickly about this event that we're doing on Thursday. And we're doing this in collaboration with Crypto Mondays. We did this already in 2023. The event code is Law v Code and Law. And what the event is about is exploring the intersections between code and law. So we have a lot of developers, we have a lot of regulatory bodies, we have policymakers and the public all in one space having a conversation about how we're going to get around or create new regulations sometimes, or just how people see regulations, governance, DAOs, stuff like that, right? So obviously in the UK, this is a very, very big topic right about now, given all of the regulation that's around and how hard it is for companies within the space to operate. So for tonight, we've agreed that we're going to do a special 50% off on the tickets for the event tonight, and that's only going to last for 24 hours. So make sure that you check out or scan the QR code because it will be ending tomorrow and they'll just be up to regular prices again. Thanks very much to the sponsors as well, CMS Law, who's given us their offices, Outlier Ventures, who are in the building as well tonight. And then we've got Block Survey, who you should definitely check out. They are a decentralized version of, let's say, Typeform's SurveyMonkey, where you keep all of the data yourself and it's totally private, and we know all of those other services have been hacked. And also Sigle, which is which is a decentralized media platform. So it's like a decentralized version of Medium. Definitely want to say shout out to them and shout out to Caitlin because I've known Caitlin since about 2017 now, so we've been in the space for a very long time together, and we've done quite a lot of collaborations together. So again, I'm gonna take it back to this bag of popcorn that I brought up here with me tonight. Can anybody guess what's in this bag of popcorn?
Raffle.
There you go. Right, so we're gonna give away tonight 2 tickets to the Coders Law event. Those 2 tickets will also come with a +1, so they're actually 4 tickets that we're giving away. So I'd like to just say thank you to all of them because there's some other helpers, Rohit, Balbir, quite a few helpers in this room that have been around. I've got Shaka over there as well. She's part of my 2140 music clan as well. I've got Stella there in the background. And all of these people have helped to make this event this year happen and come together. So without further ado, Caitlin, do you want to grab yourself some popcorn? Yeah, you better get your tickets out, or unless you know from the top of your head what number you've got. So, first ticket is number 186. Make sure that you put it on chain so that it's verifiable. Okay? There we go. And you just said it to me outside there, you know? You just said it to me outside. All right, cool. Next one. Okay, we've got number 98. So who's got number 98? Hands up. Oh, there we go. All right, so just make sure that you see Caitlin towards the end. Make sure you give her your email address and we'll send those codes out to you as soon as possible. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for coming. We have food, we have drinks, we have the space until 9:30, so enjoy. Thank you.